Hey folks, today I'm going to be solving a murder using SQL. Yes, I'm tackling the SQL Murder Mystery. This is an interactive SQL learning experience where you go and hunt down a killer in a city using SQL. So yeah, this is a great way to practice SQL if you've been using it for a little while and want a bit of a refresher. This is a great place to come. Also, if you're trying to develop those skills, awesome little resource. If you are totally new to SQL or it's been a very long time, I would recommend going over SQL Bolts. It's a good interactive lesson to help you just refresh you on all those SQL concepts like select from different tables, filtering using where clauses, joins, all that kind of good stuff. So now let's get into this. So for this, all you need is this web page. You'll just be entering SQL queries into boxes like this. And this is your starting point. We know there was a murder on 15th of January 2008 in SQL City. One great piece to look at is this schema diagram. So schema diagrams are super useful pieces to help you understand how all these different SQL tables relate to one another. So for here we have a few standalone tables. So the crime scene report will start there. As solution, this is where you'll enter your solution and we'll check if it's right. But let's look at this set of tables here. So each of these tables you can see has a relationship between another table. So this is a way you can sort of walk through the different tables. So from driver's license to the Get Fit Now member, you would go via person here. These tables each have a key, like what's called a primary key, to identify each row in that table here, but they also relate via that to a foreign key in another table. So here, the license ID is a way you would join the person table to drivers here. So this is super important when you come to doing joins because it basically tells you what keys you need to join on in these cases. Okay, and if we scroll down, this is where we'll be doing most of our work. So let's go back, let's find that information we had to start with about what happened with a murder. Okay, I've copied those two lines of text from above. So we know that there's this murder happening on this date in SQL City, and we want to be looking in this crime scene report. So in here, we would just go and execute our query. So I would do normal select star from my crime scene report. If I go and delete these extra lines and I click to run that, you will see this table come back. So this will give you all the data that's in that table. Of course, select stars, give me all the columns from this table, no limits at all. So we've got everything come back. What we want to do is then filter this for a murder on the 15th of Jan 2008 and in SQL City. So you would do this using a where clause. So I press where and I would go say type. Yeah, I can see that column for type equals murder. No. Okay, so you can see that that has now filtered this column just for murders. We need a bit more in this. Okay, well, one thing to note is this date format. Be careful with this. Say if I put in this date here, SQL is not going to recognize it properly. So if I go date equals this thing, run that, I'm not going to get any responses back. Okay, so if you ever run into issues like this, just comment out the line you once had, run it again. These two dashes give you comments, so when you grey things out like this, that line won't be run, won't be executed in SQL. But doing this select, I can actually see the date format here. So I can change this to this 2018-01-15. Okay, so this is 2018, January 15th. Run that. Okay, I've got one result come back, which is perfect for this. And this gives us the next stage of this task. Okay, so it tells me I've got some details about two witnesses to the actual murder. Gives me ideas about where they live and who they are. So I need to find out some more information about them. Okay, so what I've done is I've taken that information I've got here and I've just pasted it at the top here as a comment. I'm now going to get rid of the rest of this query. I would suggest whenever you do this, go and save it to a notepad file or text editor of some kind, just so you have a record of what you've done before. That also helps if you want to go and put this up on GitHub. later on after you've completed the challenge. Okay, so I've got these details about 2 witnesses. Now what? I'd advise go back to your schema here. So we have all this information about our different people. What we're trying to get to is this interview. So this is a table that contains all the different transcripts from witness interviews that have been carried out, and that will lead us to some information about our killer. So what we need to do is go and identify these 2 witnesses. So this isn't helpful. This doesn't tell me who the actual person is. So I'm going to need to do some SQL to work out which person it is in this table, or which people it is, and then connect that to my interview table later on. Okay, so let's find these people. So my first witness lives on last house of Northwest Drive. Okay, so I can go into my person table. I can see there's an address number here and an address name. So I'm going to use those to try and find the last person on that street. Okay, so if I just start off, I'm going to do select star from person. I'm just going to put limits on there because I don't want tons of results coming back. If I limit it to 100, I know I'm going to only get 100 results back. So run that, and this is all the information we get back. So different person IDs, names, addresses in this case. So we know what our street name is. We want to filter this data for Northwest Drive. So let's do that. Okay, so I've done that. So I've got all these just for Northwest Drive. Note that if you are going to add limit, it has to be at the end of your query. So I want to find the last house. So I'm going to I have to assume that these houses go in chronological order. So the first house will be number 1, second house number 2, and so on. So I'm going to order this table to be from last to first. Okay, so here I've used an order by. This lets me sort this. Address number is the field, so that's the number of the house. And I've added in this clause for descending, so that tells SQL to sort it from highest to lowest. Running that, we've still got a lot of results coming back. We've got 1 at the top here, which is going to be my witness. What I can do here is I can change this limit. So I can limit it to 1 to just get 1 result coming back. And there it is. So that's my first witness. What I'm going to do is note down this ID and this person's name in my comments at the top, just so whenever I need to refer back to that. I've found that 1 witness. Now I'm going to go and find Annabelle. Okay, so I'm going to be starting with the same table, that person table. I need to know that Annabelle lives somewhere on Franklin Avenue. So again, I'm just going to bring that into my where clause. Go to the comment, change this to Franklin Avenue, limit it to 10, run that. Okay, so the name isn't just going to be Annabelle. You can see here we've got a few different, like Annabelle plus a surname, things like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and search for Annabelle and do name. I'm going to say whether this is like. So this is like a text search. So what I can do here is do things like Anne. So this percent sign means that any characters can come before that word, and this percent sign means any characters can come after that last character. So I'm just looking. This is a way of just searching the table for anything containing the word or the term Anne, which I've got here. One thing you may want to do here, so you may extend this to full Annabelle, which is fine. You may also have issues because this might be. So here, this is case insensitive. This is okay. I was concerned whether the capital was throwing it off. To double check this, you can always perform a function on name. So lower here will convert all the names to a lowercase. And as you can see, that still works. This, in terms of what SQL operator you're using, might be a good way just to double check you're getting the right Annabelle coming back. But yeah, so here I found Annabelle Miller, this ID here as well. I'm going to go and add that to here. Okay, great. So I've got my 2 witnesses. I just need to go and find them now in this interview table. there are my two witnesses, which I've got, which is great. I need to go and find out their interview transcripts. So to do that, I'm going to go into interview here and enter those person IDs. Okay, so here we go. This is our descriptions of what happened. So in this case, it's all about taking these little bits of information that we can use in queries later on. So I'm going to take things like the membership number started with this, gold member is got a card that included this plate number. We've got a date as well. So I'm going to pull this information into my comments and I'm going to start looking for the killer. Okay, so I've got this information. What I'm trying to do is, again, find who this person is at the end of it. And I have all this information about driver's license. I have gym stuff as well, gym membership, IDs, check-in. So the idea is just start with one of these tables, so driver's license or your Get Fit Now members, and then start narrowing down who the person is going to be. Okay, so I'm going to start with driver's license. I'm going to start with that piece of information first. Okay, so I know that the plate includes this number as H442W. So I'm going to go over to my plate number. So I'm going to do the same operation I did for finding Annabelle. So I'm going to do that wildcard search. So I've got a few cars come back, so 3 potential killers in this. So I don't know which one, but I can use that other information to help me out. All my other information is over here in this Get Fit Now membership area. So when they checked in, what kind of membership they've got, these kind of things. So I'm going to need to go from driver's license to that table. And so I'm going to go via this person table. I'm going to join my ID for driver's license onto my license ID here. Do that join, and then from there I can go find my ID for my people there, my 3 car owners, and then match it to my Get Fit Now membership here. Okay, so to do this join, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give driver's license an alias. Otherwise, I will have to keep writing out that table name all the time. So I'm going to call this as DL. DL for driver's license. I'm then going to do an inner join. I want to match all these car owners to a person information. Inner join on my person table. I can call person as P. And so I'm going to match. I need to match it on a key. So for this, I'm going to go for I can see my key here. My ID in driver's license is going to match my license ID in person. Be careful not to try and match ID with ID. These keys have different names in different tables. Run that. As I'm doing select star, I will return all records, all columns that match, so all the columns from both of these tables. So you can see we have our car information here, but we also have much more information about the addresses and the names of these people now, which is great. So as I don't need my driver's license information anymore, I'm just going to rely on the person information. I'm going to do P dot. So P is that alias for person. By adding this here, it means I will just show the columns that are in the person table. So I found 3 people. I need to now find 1. So I need to go and join it with this Get Fit Now membership information. Okay, so I come back to my schema. I've got an ID here for person. That's going to link over to this person ID in the Get Fit Now member table here. So I'm going to do the same again. I'm going to do an inner join. Yep, member. Careful with that. So there's going to be on person ID equals ID in my person table. Okay. So you can see actually this has just reduced it down to 1 result here. So doing this inner join filters out anybody who wasn't in the gym membership table. As I'm doing select star from P, I'm not getting any information about the Get Fit table in, but we can bring this into. So if I do comma gf.star, you'll see all that information come across. Okay. If I want to clarify what's going on, we could always do a left join just to see those people here. Yeah, we didn't lose those IDs. They just do not appear in my Get Fit Now members table. So Those results are filtered out when you do an inner join. As you can see, we've just got nulls in place of information where we would have it for Jeremy. So I'm going to change this back to an inner join. We've got a person. We can also do these other filters as well. You may have started here. So, okay, so that's still returning Jeremy, which is good. Now we're just gonna want to 100% check that this is definitely the killer. So I'm going to add in this git fit now check in. Okay, I'm going to bring in my CI information as well. So there we have it. So we also have a check-in date of that. We still get this. We still get this, that Jeremy is going to be the killer in this case. Okay, so what we need to do now, I'm pretty convinced it's Jeremy, so what you need to do next is at the bottom here, you have this section for check your solution. Did you find the killer? So what this will do is run this insert state into your solutions, and that will return or operate, and it will return to you whether that person is the killer or not. So we need to change this to insert the name of the person here. So I'm going to put in Jeremy here. Okay, and I'm going to run that query. And that's it. Congrats. Yes, you found the killer. But wait, there's more. There was actually a mastermind behind all of this. Okay, so there's a real villain. So what we can do is look up what's happened with Jeremy in the interview table. Okay, so if you put the person ID for Jeremy into the interview table, you get this transcript come back about a mastermind he was hired by. Hired by a woman with a lot of money. She's around 5'5" or 65 inches, 5'7", red hair, drives a Tesla, attended SQL Symphony 3 times in December. Okay, so we've got a lot of odd bits and pieces of information, but like before, we're going to take all the data and put it into our comment section, where that's going to help us track down who this mastermind is. Okay, so we've got our information about our mastermind. What do we do next? Well, again, we've got to try and narrow this down to a person. So we've got information here about the height, got the hair color, got the car they drive, got this event they went to in December. So what we can do here, so you have a look around these tables. You'll see in here in the driver's license has things like height and hair color and car make and model. So that's a good place to start. When we think about that, SQL Symphony concert, this is probably going to be the table we want to look at, right? This is our different events that happen on dates, so we can use this one too. So like before, I'm going to start in driver's license, going to have a look there, filtering down our records to try and narrow down a person. Okay, so I've just done a simple select from driver's license, and I'm going to just start putting in some of this information. So that's working, that's coming back. Okay, let's have a look at that height. So it looks like the height is being stored in these inches here at the moment. So okay, so I've got a few coming back as well. Okay, let's try and find this car model. So I've got two types. I've got the make, I've got the model. So it looks like this is the brand of car, like your Volkswagen. So I'm gonna have a look for Tesla down here, and then the model. Now, I'm not really sure how it's going to be phrased Tesla in there, so I'm going to do that text search to try and narrow down what the correct wording is going to be. So I'm going to do that like again. Okay, so we've got this. Yeah, I've got a Tesla, so I know that's the correct spelling. I'm going to go and add that in there. So I nearly forgot, first piece of information, I've got a woman here in this case, so I can filter also for gender. And so I've still got 3 coming back, which is okay. I've got this extra piece of information about that check-in SQL Symphony. So I'm going to need to go here, and I'm going to come back to person and into my Facebook check-in event. Okay, so first up, I'm going to want to join from driver's license to my person. Again, using license ID here. So let's do that. Yes, and I've got all these different records coming back from my different people. As before, I'm going to do a list of p dot. So person, just return all the columns from my person table. So these are potential masterminds here. Okay, that's good. Now I need to get across to my Facebook event check-in. So I can go here and go ID from here to person ID here. So let's take a look at these. Yeah, one of those, just double check the spelling all the time. You don't get autocorrect here or anything like that, or autocomplete. So I want to join this. So on my person ID equals ID in person. Okay, so let me update this. So I want to bring in fb.star, so all the columns from my Facebook check-in table as well. Okay, so we get a lot more events coming back. In fact, because we have all these different events going on. So you can see actually here, Miranda has been repeated multiple times. Okay, so we could see here that actually, yes, we've got 3 check-ins for December in this case. But what if I wanted to try and rejig this table so I can work out what those event check-ins were? Okay, so to do this, we need to just have a look at the Facebook event table itself. So let me comment that one out. Let me comment all of it out. This dash star, star dash. So doing that is a multi-line comment. So let's pick up our Facebook check-in. Okay, so we have all these different people, all these different events and names. Find out dates in December 2017. So we can do that. Let's go and filter this for dates in December 2017. So okay, so I've just done a quick filter for dates in this different range. I could also write it as between. It's a little less code to write than a greater than or equal to, but it does the same effect. And I can see here I've got all these different events coming back as well. So I want to do a different count of these different events. So let's put in some words here. So we want to find a person that has been to an event 3 or more times. Okay, so I've got lots of results coming back. I want in particular 3, firstly 3 or more. Let's go, so I can use a filter called having. So having only works after an aggregation. So having count greater than or equal to 3. Yeah, so a having clause will, can work on aggregations. If you try to put this in a where clause, you would get an error instead. Okay, so I've got 2 different people that have been to this SQL Symphony concert, these 2 person IDs here. Okay, I could also add that into my where clause. So, and event name equals SQL Symphony concert. No difference. I can get rid of this column. I can also get rid of this in the group by here. So I'll give this name as visits. Okay, so we have 2 people here. We want to now check this against everything we did earlier, finding our driver's license. So what you can do here is you can put the results of this query into what's called a common table expression. So this is different notation, slightly different notation, but it essentially will act as a table of results because we want to join this result to what we had here. We can do that. So if I call this with common table expression as CTE as bracket, this thing. So this notation still lets me write SQL code as normal, so I can select star from my CTE like that. And so if I run that code, I will still get the same results from that table. Okay, I can also include other queries. So I've written this expression. I don't need to actually use it. So I can bring back everything we had earlier. Okay, so with my common length table expression, working out who went to that SQL Symphony 3 times or more in December. So if I run this, okay, I've got an error. So uncaught no such table as FB. What that is complaining about is this FB star here. So I can get rid of that because yeah, I've not brought that table in yet. Okay, so I've got my people. I've now got the check-ins as well. I want to match over those person IDs. So what I would do here is do an inner join on my common table expression. I'll keep the alias FB for my own simplicity. FB on person ID. Yeah. So let's bring in back in that FB star. And we can run that. Okay. So there we go. So we've got Miranda Priestley, 3 visits to that SQL Symphony in December. So I'm pretty confident that Miranda Priestley is the mastermind. I'm going to go take this and I'm going to go copy and paste it into here. And there we go. Congratulations. Found the brains behind the murder. You are the greatest SQL detective of all time. Break out the champagne. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to break out the champagne. If you've enjoyed this challenge, please do come back. I've got more SQL challenges to help testing grow and develop your knowledge of SQL. So I hope to see you in the next challenge. Until then, sit back and relax and enjoy that champagne. Bye.